If you struggle with playing really great poker and thinking clearly and executing at a high level in those big pots, in the biggest pot of the night, in the huge pot in the tournament that's going to determine whether or not you final table or you just min cash. If you struggle to think clearly, process everything well, and make great decisions in those spots, you're going to love what I'm going to tell you in this video, because we are going to go against the grain of all the conventional wisdom of how everybody's doing things and give you a method to play much better and win much more money in those pots that really define your win rate at the end of the year. A couple of years ago, one of the best online poker playing tournament players in the history of poker phoned me up wanting to work with me to do some coaching. This guy has won more money than basically like any human alive in poker tournaments, and he is still telling me, you know what, I still struggle to bring my best in these big spots where there's a lot of pressure, where I feel a lot of stress. But I'll tell you the one thing that has helped me the most. He tells me the one thing that helped the most is that I stopped running my coaching program where I was backing people and I was coaching them, and we would review all of my final tables and I would answer questions of like why you did this, why you did that. And he said, when I gave that up, now all of a sudden I was able to just play freely and stop caring about how I was going to explain why I did what I did to my students. And with that burden gone, all of a sudden now it's actually helping me a lot to play better in these big spots. And so that's the concept that I want to break down and elaborate on here in this video, because what everybody is doing is very formulaic in these big spots. You get into a big spot, you're on the river, somebody jams all in, and you start to do the checklist, right? You start to do okay, what's his range and what was the sizing used on the pre-flop 3-bet, and then they used this, they bet 33% on the flop, but then 150% on the turn. And this means that, and this means that, and you're trying to basically funnel out a bunch of hands that they could have so that you can figure out what hands are left, and then you can calculate and decide what your equity is against that range. And it's very formulaic, and on the surface it sounds really good, right? It sounds really smart. It's a really like logical, smart way to go about things. But I want to ask you one question about that, which is how's it going? How's that working out for you? How's it working out for you to need to do things in this exact way, to need to define and justify and figure out and make meaning out of every single thing that you see? Are you consistently creating an experience where you walk away from these big spots saying, oh, wow, yeah, completely happy with how this went down, completely happy and at peace? Are you able to go to sleep at night, whether you win or lose, whether you made the right play or the wrong play? Are you able to move forward and keep playing your best? Or do you get stuck? Do you get hung up on it? Do you sit around regretting it, thinking about, I wish I had done this instead. I should have done that instead. If only I had done this instead, then I would have gotten this result. So which one do you have more often? Which experience are you creating? Because if it's more of the second one, filled with the regret and the doubt and the shame and the anxiety, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say it's not going pretty well. Whatever you're doing, not going that great. And that tends to be the thing that most people tell me when they start to reach out to me to work with me, is like, okay, I've got this whole system in place that I use to try and figure out what I'm going to do in these big spots, and it's not going well. For one, I'm not making the best decisions. When I look back and review later, I see all sorts of things that make me regret my decision. And two, I'm not able to let go. So I'm just going to use some logic here. If that's how you do it and it's creating these results, maybe you shouldn't do it that way anymore, right? So this is the addiction almost every poker player suffers from, especially when you get pretty good at the game and you're very serious about winning, is you need to sound and look like you're pretty smart and that you know what you're doing, because you want to be able to have people respect you, and you believe that being able to work through a hand in this way in high pressure moments is going to give you good results, but more importantly, it makes you respectable. But winning money is more important, right? Right? I think. So the need to be able to deliver this very smart, packaged, well thought out process gives you these results. Well, the opposite then would be to have one that looks kind of dumb. So my whole thing now is I can teach people, I can take a poker player who is struggling in these big spots, who's knowledgeable but struggling in these big spots. I can increase your win rate quite a bit in these big spots by teaching you how to be dumber. That's my promise. That's my big sell. I can get you there by being dumber, because your need to be smart is what is causing the problem. And here's the proof. So when you start to go down this rabbit hole of, I'm going to analyze this spot. Okay, here I am. Okay, we started here. First pre-flop, they did this. Then on the flop, they did this. That means this, and this means that. Oh, but that's what a smart person says, right? It sounds smart, but it's not true. That's the problem. It sounds smart, not true. Because the truth is, you don't know what it means for sure 100% when somebody used a certain size, or when somebody check raised instead of check calling. You have a suspicion, but you don't know, and you can't for sure eliminate specific possibilities. But when you're in that mode of, I need to figure it out, and I'm using this framework so I can figure out what they might have, it's basically inevitable that you're going to go there and start making assumptions. You're going to start believing things to be true that are not actually true. And so dumbing yourself down is really just the process of being more honest with yourself. So what we did before, that was the smart hand history, right? Okay, this happened, and then use this sizing, and then, going to bet his range here, and then use this sizing, and okay, but now these hands are okay. That's the smart one that you can sound cool in your group chat with, and if you want to tell the hand to your coach later, they'll be like, wow, yeah, you really thought that one through. but you still aren't happy, right? So here's the dumb one. Here's the dumb version of this. It looks like this. It's like, oh, okay. Here we are on the river. This is how much they bet. This is my hand. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I have no idea what the right answer is. I have no idea what they have. And the big magic part that's going to bring it all together, this is what I'm feeling on a human emotional level. And then, see, everything up to there is clear, simple, honest, true. You can call it dumb if you want, but it's just the honest truth. They bet that. These are my cards. I don't know what I'm going to do. And can I be present with the emotional experience that accompanies those things? Because if you cannot do that, what your mind is going to do is try and soothe you, because you lack the ability to just be present and accept the emotions that are coming. Your mind is going to try and make it better, try and make it okay by figuring it out. Okay, let's get to work and figure out the answer. It gives you a bit of momentary peace of thinking that you're making something good happen, but you're really not, because you're just lying to yourself a bunch of stuff. You're just lying. It's like, okay, this means that. This means he couldn't have that. And then the worst lies become, oh, I can't fold here. I should call with this hand. No. Not true. The truth is, you can do whatever you want. But when you're searching, I need to figure it out, you start to justify stuff based on things that aren't actually true. And that's why you keep running into situations where after you play these big spots, you look back and you're like, can't believe I did that. Why did I do that? Well, that's pretty much it. So why does everybody keep doing this if, at best it gets you mediocre results, and even the best players in the world are still feeling that there's something more I could be doing for myself? Well, it's because in general, human beings don't actually want to completely overhaul the system in how they do things. They just, you just prefer to believe that if I was just doing a better job with the system I have now, then that would fix everything. And sometimes that's true. But I can assure you in this case it's not. Because the people who are the very best, the very, very best players in the world at using this very logical, I'm going to go through my checklist and figure out what I need to do system. The very best in the world are still going to bed at night full of angst and not able to let go. Still just like freaking out and thinking about it nonstop. So they're the best. If that's their experience, the system's broken. If you want that level of peace to be able to move forward after each hand, you gotta stop lying to yourself and you gotta be honest about what is actually true, and you gotta stop needing to find the answer and learn how to be okay not knowing the answer. That's really the biggest piece of it all, is that third piece of truth of I have no idea what to do. Very, very uncomfortable, very difficult to deal with if you've been brought up like most people have, because the world likes answers. The world likes to reward people who either know the answer or act like they do. And as a result, when people don't have the answer, you don't know, instead of just being able to be present with that emotion, you just start spouting stuff off in your head to try and find the answer or convince yourself that you can figure it out, or believe that you are. But that relies on you making assumptions that just aren't true. So here's the beautiful thing about this. When you dumb it down, you make yourself dumber. Oh, this is what they bet. This is my hand. I have no idea what to do. And you can be present in the moment, in that experience. Something will happen. Something is going to happen. You'll do something. And quite often that will be coming from this place of your true instincts kicking in, and true observations, ideas, things occurring to you that will never occur to you when you're out there searching for the answer and trying so hard to, like, line by line see every little detail of what's going on this. And you need to become available for the big insights and ideas to come to you, because, you know, our best ideas, they don't come to us when we're looking for great ideas. That never happens, just in general, not just poker. Our best ideas come to us when we're taking a walk, or we're in the shower, or we just woke up from sleep and all of a sudden it's like, I know what to do about this. It's not like anybody ever sits down with a pencil and paper and is like, I'm going to figure out what to do with my life. And then they come up with a great answer. No, that's like how the worst decisions get made. So why would you treat your poker game and the biggest decisions you need to make in poker in that exact same way? But yet everybody does it. So maybe stop. Right? And genuinely, like, if you're able to get out of that system and use this one instead, the real dumb one, and stay present and let the best ideas come to you, you're one of the very, very few who are able to do it, which means a huge edge and a whole lot of money. So this is the thing I can give you if you want to play at your top level in these big spots. There's no other way to do it. Under the other system, the crunch, the pressure, the emotion that you're blocking yourself from and not facing and not feeling, it will always get your mind to start scrambling around and trying to figure something out. And then you will lie to yourself. And when you lie to yourself, you will not make great decisions. That's how it works. All right. So if you want help with that big piece of how do I become present with the emotions that come when I'm sitting there and I have no clue what to do, come find me. PokerWithPresence.com. I've got some great free stuff over on the site that if you really use it in your very next session, you should start to feel a difference in your ability to stay present with your emotions when they come up. All right. Hope you enjoyed it. Get out there. Go be dumb. Get that money. We'll see you on the next video. Yeah, might be my best one yet.